Hello and welcome to haQ. My name is Jakob, I'm your host and you're watching a haQ episode. This is Syndt by KLEVGR, also known as Klevgränd Produktion, and as usual they play around with their naming schemes for their apps. And Syndt is pronounced that way without the T. It's a Danish word and without the T it sounds exactly like the Swedish word synd, which basically means the exact same thing, sin. But there is no sin in wanting this synthesizer. So while I'm reviewing it, I'm also going to take you through all of the sections and all of the functions within this synthesizer. Right now I've got it loaded inside Cubase as an audio unit extension, which means that we can load it up in multiple instances in our most favorite apps that support audio unit extensions, such as Audiobus 3, OM, ModStep, Cubase. Syndt comes packed with a load of presets, but as usual I don't get synthesizers for their presets, I get them to explore the sounds they can make, of course. So if we go to the first page, we'll find the controls for the oscillator. It's very straightforward. You've got an XY pad to control the sound of the oscillator. Now to demonstrate this, I'm going to load one of my initialized presets. And yes, you can save your own presets, of course. And so this synthesizer has one oscillator with two waveforms and pulse width modulation. Now the cool thing are these mini LFOs, and they are not related to this LFO. They're actually running on their own speeds. One for the X position and one for the Y position. So if I want the X position to be modulated, then I'll just have to increase the strength of the modulation and then set the speed for it. The same goes for the Y coordinates. Of course, you can sync the clock cycle, and you also have a note on sync, which means that the clock cycles of these mini LFOs will restart with every new key press. Right below the oscillator controls, we have the ADSR, the envelope. The synthesizer also incorporates a high pass and a low pass filter with resonance control. Now right below the high pass and low pass filters, we have something called LP time and LP off. They will affect the phase of the filter. They will affect the phase of the low pass filter when the new note is played. So if I set it here, I increase the time. And of course, all of this can be controlled by the velocity. Okay, so right now we are inside the voice menu. But as we can see, there are two more pages here, LFO and global. So let's start with the LFO. The LFO works like the oscillator, so it has a shape control, so it goes from sine wave to square waveform, and then it has a pulse width modulation control. So you can modulate the low pass filter, high pass filter, the gain, and also the pitch of the LFO. It has a speed setting and attaQ setting, which is grayed out now, and that's because we got the note on sync right now, meaning the cycle of the LFO will restart every time a new note is played. So if I turn this off, then we can see that the attaQ option is no longer grayed out, and I can now set the LFO attaQ speed. And lastly, there is also a phase control. So if we want to modulate the pitch, we just pull up on this one, add a little speed, Now all of these controls can be controlled by the modulation wheel. We just have to press right there where it says wheel. And this basically sets the strength of the effect. we're going to go to the last page, and here we can find effects and global controls. First up, we have a delay. And it's pretty cool because we have a high pass and a low pass filter for the delay tail. You can either set an internal clock speed for the delay tail, or you can just sync it to your host. Right next to the delay we have a chorus. Right under the chorus we have an equalizer with low, mid and high controls. Very straightforward. Lastly, we have the main volume out, which can be controlled by the velocity. Next, we have a glide control, which only works in legato mode. And absolutely last, we have the controls for the pitch bend. So if you pull it all the way up, you have a whole octave to bend your sound. Now, there is one more thing. I suggest you go to the KLEVGR page and go find the manual, because inside the manual for Synth, you'll be able to find all of the CC data. So if you want to modulate stuff using MIDI, then it's all here. Now I do have one complaint, and that is there is no transpose control for the oscillator. Why is this bad? Well, the only way I could make my bass sounds was by going all the way down on the keyboard. And I want to go further than this, and I can't. So this is something I would love to see being changed for Synth, because the warmth of the synthesizer itself makes it very interesting for bass sounds. Right, so there you go, that's Synth by KLEVGR. Now if you want to go grab Synth yourself, then you can find an app link down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, all comments and ratings are very much appreciated. I've also got a Patreon page, so if you want to support creativity and good content, basically if you find value in the content I produce, then why not sign up on Patreon? Now if that isn't your cup of tea, then you can find a PayPal me link down in the description if you want to do a one-off donation. Now, if you don't want to do Patreon, then you can support me by sharing my videos. Press the thumbs up, and if you subscribe, don't forget to select that little bell thing that pops up right beside the subscription button, because that way you'll get notified every time I upload a new video. As usual, I wish you a very productive week. Now go finger all of your stuff and have a lot of fun doing it.